What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Random Guy Kevin. This is Thoughts of a Random Guy. We talk about many things dealing with love, dating, relationships, adulting life's ups and downs, and the ever-evolving world of just being a human. Don't forget to check me out on all your favorite social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website at randomguykev.com. Today's topic is something about concealing your past. What? Yeah, concealing your past. Why conceal your past? There you go. And my co-hosts for this episode are...
You got Kenan.
And Onya.
So, why conceal your past? I mean, when people start dating or getting into something, you try to show the good sides of yourself. You try to show the positives. You don't try to let people know the negative sides of things until you see if they really invested in you. And then when they are really invested in you, then it's like you slowly try to, hey, so this is what's happened in my past, or this is a situation, instead of bringing it out in the beginning. So to give somebody a choice of, hey, I want to be with you or I don't want to be with you. What are your thoughts on that? Like, as far as like, if you guys are married, but the people you guys have dated in your past, I mean, I feel like we've all been in a situation where we've started talking to someone, things have gone well, and then probably out of the blue, something from the past is like, hey, so I just want to let you know this is what's going on with me. Like, and this is what has happened in a situation. Thoughts?
Well, okay, don't look at me. I'll start with that. I think there are certain things that have to be brought up in regards to your past. Especially if it's going to be brought up in the future, if it's going to be a constant thing that's brought up in the future, if I'm constantly going to have to see this person or be traumatized or deal with something along those lines.
So we're going straight into certain situations.
I'm just saying. I mean, we having a conversation.
Straight into certain situations.
We having the conversations, if I can be honest. So I think if it's going to be a constant reoccurrence, I think it's important for you to tell the individual, like, yo, what it is and like how that's transpiring. If it's something that's not pertinent, that should just be left in the past because it's not going to be present or it doesn't affect our relationship in the future, then your past is your past. Listen, it happened and it is what it is. And that's something that you have to deal with between you and God. And that's fine, as long as it's not a constant thing in our future or our present. So.
Especially if it's something not like hidden. So like I dealt with somebody where things were going good, and like we were talking for like a good 6 months or so, and then come to find out she had a train ran on her.
Oh shit.
And I didn't find out from her. I found out from somebody else, and I was like, "Oh, this shit is nuts." I wish she would have told me. Then I could have had the decision in the beginning, like, all right, do I still want to talk to this person? Like, because initially she told me, yo, I've done a lot of things, but she didn't tell me what a lot of things were. And then me getting in my... I'm a lover boy, so, like, I'm going to be...
certified.
There. I'm literally going to be there for somebody. Like, if you treat me right, I'm going to treat you right. Cool, I'm happy. As long as I'm happy, I'm good. But then you come out the left field with, back in college, I got a train ran on me. Hold on, miss. Hold the fuck on.
Well, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, because my thought process on it is that for me, I'm an open book regardless. Whatever you ask me, I'm going to tell you. Because everything that I've been through in the past made me the person that I'm presenting myself to you as today.
Okay.
So if it's brought up, I'm going to tell you. However, I think that the expectation that certain people have is that if it's something that's going to be a red flag for a person, you should let me know. But how is the person you're dating supposed to know that it's a red flag for you? So to me, the train situation, that's extreme, because I think for most men, a woman would know that that's something that a man would see as a red flag or want to be told about. But if you as a person have certain triggers and certain things that you don't find okay, and I'm raised in a way where this is okay. So let's say a girl was raised in a way where who you have sex with, what you do when it comes to sex is not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why somebody would automatically think I need to tell you that, not knowing that that's something that their partner is going to feel like is a deal breaker or is a, oh, I didn't know everything about you when y'all are dating. Like, if Kenan don't like the color purple and I'm a fan of it, I wouldn't think that I need to say all the times where the color purple might come up and trigger him in the future because I don't know that about him, especially in a dating situation. A lot of it you don't know until it actually pops up and you're like, oh shit,
and I agree. And
I
then
should have
like
told you that.
as far as the color purple thing is like, say if you wear the color purple out and he's just like, yeah, that's not my thing. I don't even like purple. And like that's when you're finding it out. It's
Right.
like, okay, like then you guys have your discussion. But if it comes from someone else telling me about the situation, like if somebody else was to tell Kenan, like, she doesn't like the color purple, I just want you to know. I mean, yeah, she wears purple, but I know you don't like the color purple. Like, just want you to know. And it's like, damn, she didn't tell me that.
Right, because
So-
that person who said it knows both of y'all enough to know that that's not something you fuck with.
Yeah.
So if taking the color purple situation out because that's like not something that's real. If Kenan does not like let's go with something that we've talked about in our marriage. If Kenan does not like the fact that I might go on one-on-one quote unquote dates with my male friends. How am I supposed to know that that's something that is going to trigger Kenan or something that Kenan doesn't fuck with? And I should put out there that every Friday I go out.
You link up with
Right, I link up with
one of your
on
guy
a-
friends,
right.
just as like a, hey, we're just going to hang out type
Right.
thing.
I wouldn't
mean,
think that I need to tell Kenan that because for me and the way I'm
It's
raised,
normal for
it's a
you.
norm. And if it's something that Kenan feels like it's not a norm, I have no way of knowing that until it actually pops up
it
and slaps
happens,
up.
and then he
and slaps
tells
us
you
in the face.
And I feel like, yes, like after it happens, then you guys talk about it and come to some type of resolution on how to move forward from
Right.
there. But again, it's like, yeah, you can't read anybody's mind at the end of the day. It's like, yeah, let's talk about it and then let's find a solution. But if it's something that's like, okay, you hang out with your male friends on a weekly basis, one-on-one, and we're married now, I'm going to be like, if you tell me that friend is like, have y'all fucked before? Y'all haven't fucked? Okay, cool. But at the same time, it's like, y'all been doing that for a while. What is it about? It's just you guys hanging out. I just want to know more information. And then if it's you guys just hanging out, I might be, there's two sides to this where I may be like, okay, maybe that's cool. Or maybe I want to hang out with you guys and see what it's about. Or the third thing where it's like, okay, I mean, I may be uncomfortable with it because I decide I have the same situation with a female friend and you get upset about it, but I don't get upset about the man, you chilling with a man. So it's like kind of like people might consider it a double standard in a sense. So it's like, it's all about your relationship at the end of the day, having a conversation and breaking it down from there and just deciding like, okay, what's okay? What makes my person okay or not okay from the situation?
For me, like going back to she had a train ran on her. If that's in your past, that's in your past. I can't hold that against you because that's what you did in your past.
Really?
Yes, listen, that happened in your past.
This is Kenan 2.0. I just want the people to know.
My thing is, I want to have a relationship with you where you feel honest and safe enough with me to say, yo, this is what happened in my past. And just be transparent and just tell me so we could have that conversation rather than you hiding it from me because your past is your past. I can't hold it against you. The problem is when it's brought into our future. So, you and I have gotten into, we've had situations where I'm not okay with certain things that's been brought up in the present because of your dealings in the past and, y'all friends or whatever the case may be. So for me, at a period of time, I'm just like, I don't really like that dynamic or how it's set up. But I think as I've gotten older and understood the situation a lot more and my growth in Christ has grown so much, I'm like, yo, if that's what you want to do, you're going to do it you're going to do it regardless. Like, go ahead and do it. All I can do is tell you how I feel about the situation. And I would hope, because I'm your husband, you would take my feelings into consideration. But I don't own you.
But
I get to experience you, and that's it.
But I think it's two-sided because let's say a situation comes up And
Before y'all was married and that happened.
what part are you
That
talking about?
the train.
Okay, so let's just run with the train situation.
Let's run with the train situation.
Let's run with the train
so
situation.
After you get married,
Mm-hmm.
you find out a train. Your person was in a part of a train situation. What are you doing?
My thing is, why didn't you just feel comfortable enough just to tell me this?
Because she might not have thought that it was something that was important to even tell. Because I think the concealing your past goes both ways. So let's say with the train situation, she might have felt like it's something that is not, I don't need to say that because that's something that happened in the past. It has no bearing on our future. And also, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
So I might be concealing that portion of me, but you are also concealing the portion of you that says that the train situation is not okay because of whatever past trauma or whatever way you were brought up or whatever was happened in your past that told you having a train run on you is not okay. So now we both kind of came into a relationship concealing two different things because I never told you about the train, but you
True.
also never told me that you have a trigger for the idea of me having a train run on me.
I mean, also the whole trigger thing. It's like we all have triggers. We have a bunch of triggers, but it's not like we're gonna immediately say what those triggers are. Because like, we can start dating. I'll be like, okay, I like a woman that does this. I like a woman that does that. I don't like women that have had multiple sex partners. I don't like women that like to explore this. I don't like women that. No one. Let's be honest. No one's gonna say all that.
I think you should though.
I think
because
you
I
should
think
too.
I should
I
have
think you should, but I don't
a
think
full
a lot
resume of what I'm getting myself into, so that's not an issue
But I
in the
think
future.
I think also sometimes you don't know what your triggers are until you're put in
That's
that
a fact.
situation. So you're like, yo, this ain't no trigger for me. This ain't no big deal. And then you put in a situation and you like, I don't like that because that's happened for us where I'm like, yeah, this not a trigger for me. And something has happened where I'm like, damn, this is a trigger
you
for me.
realize it later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Or it might not even be brought up as this is not a trigger for me. It might just be a situation that we don't talk about because at the moment, year 1 or 2 into our relationship, it just never comes
happens.
up. The
Yeah.
year 3, something happens, that shit pops up, and you figure out, oh, I don't like this shit. And then now you also have to deal with yourself to figure out what it is
That's
that
bothering
has
you.
right.
Yeah.
And then you figure out that it is a trigger, and you're like, oh fuck. But the trigger situation, as we've talked about multiple times, the trigger situation is also something that's hard to deal with because that's not something that your partner should have to maneuver around.
Mm-hmm.
If you're triggered by something, that is literally something that you as a person should be figuring out for yourself.
I think it's twofold though. I think 100% as a person, you need to figure that out. But at the same time, if you're with that person, you're their help me. You're there to help them. So I can work on my own triggers, absolutely. But as a partner, what can I also do to alleviate me setting those triggers off?
Which I think is the partner deciding that they want to do it
True.
because it's going to keep the household quiet, cool, and collected. I don't think that it is the partner's job to try not to trigger their significant other.
It's not their job, but if you're in a relationship and you're with somebody and you want it to work, it's twofold because it's not just about one person. It takes two people to tango.
I feel like
So you have to find a balance and a compromise.
I feel like you gotta say everything that you like. If it's a bad experience, like you think about it, okay, it's not bad for me, but maybe this person might think that it's a bad thing. Like I've had numerous amount of sex partners at one time, all at the same time in college at a point, and it's like, for me personally, like I don't like knowing people's sex history. I don't like knowing, but if they like had relations with somebody I know, that also is like another thing. Like
You gotta let me know.
you gotta let me know.
Let
like
me know that.
you're in my friend circle. You see who I deal with. You see the people. You had a relations with that person. I didn't know about it. Okay, like that might make me think other shit. As a man, that'll make me think of like, damn. So he had your body. You're my body now. Like it's like, damn, I feel kind of weird. And that's how that situation was, where it was like, it was a couple people that I knew when me and her were out. They walked up to me like, yo, that's you? I'm like, yeah, well, like, what's good? And it was like, oh shit. So she didn't tell you X, Y, and Z. And it's like, and that wasn't from one guy. It was like a couple guys that I knew personally where it's like, yo, like we all took her down in one night. I'm like, damn, my chest burns.
And I think in that situation, it's a problem because not because she slept with all these guys, but because this is a past situation that's being brought up currently in the future. It affects our future because now I'm with my friends and I'm going to continue to see my friends and I have to keep reliving this. It'll be different if you ain't know them.
Yeah, if I ain't know them,
At least for me, I think it would have been different where I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you did, whatever.
It happens.
But in this situation, the person for this specific situation,
it's still kind of like a lot.
But for this specific situation, the person knew that you were cool with these other people who came up to you.
Correct.
When did she find out that you were cool with them? Like she already knew.
Oh, she already knew.
So I feel like maybe it's just the girl side of me. Was it never a thought of?
Let me tell them.
No, not even let me tell him. Was it never a thought of, okay, my assumption is that he already knows. Because if he's cool with all these people and now he's bringing me around, my assumption could be that the boys already told him, because I think, at least on my side, and I can only speak for me and my group of friends, when we start dealing with somebody, the Instagram is shared immediately. And it's okay, sweetie.
So the thing is
you know this man. You have relationships with this man. Does anybody know this man in a way that I'm trying to get to know?
The thing is, you share with your close friends, but these guys weren't my close friends. These were people like associates.
I'm cool with. Like I see them around.
These people.
So she might not have thought it was a big deal.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. And then when we finally started going out together to more other functions, it was like. And we started seeing the other people. It was like, damn. This amount of guys is walking up to me telling me like, yo, this situation happened. I'm like, shit.
You got me looking stupid.
Yeah. So it's like, I understand that she, and again, and she did tell me like, hey, I was a little bit messy in college. This is what happened, X, Y. She didn't tell me exactly what happened. She just said she was messy. And I was like,
How far removed was this from college?
It's probably like 2 years, if that.
Oh, that's different to me. Because years removed from college, I don't know if I would necessarily
10
think
years?
that.
If it's 10 years removed from college?
7 years and over. I don't know if I would have thought, I need to tell you.
I don't give a. If we're running into these people
consistently, on a regular basis,
because now it's being put in my.
Now we're out. Now we're out in public.
But if
you're the one who got her.
It's again, and I continuously tell you this, it's the idea of multiple men who I constantly see having my woman the same way I have her.
Yeah.
Bend her over.
Can I tell you a secret though?
Like,
it's never the way that you have her.
And I hear you. I hear you on that because I think that's your perspective and that's a woman's perspective, and I respect that. But from my perspective, it's always going to burn an image.
It's gonna
my
for
head.
men it's gonna burn. It's pride.
Yeah, and even
I'm so glad that
that's what it is.
No,
it's not a logical thing.
It's a pride.
It's an emotional pride situation.
But men take pride in having a woman that I can walk.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, that I can walk into a room. Hold on, that I can walk into a room that number one nobody knows, and number two wasn't none of y'all good enough to touch her.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't have enough value in y'all to fuck with my female.
But y'all didn't have enough value in you to fuck with her as who she is now. I think what y'all fail to understand sometimes is that, and we've had this conversation before, I think that a lot of men fail to understand that a woman could sleep with somebody, no strings attached, just because it was an itch that they want to scratch at that point in time in their life. And that's it. So the man who I fucked did not have me in the way that you have me. Because you have me with emotions. You have me in a relationship. That's different than me deciding, all right, I'm single. Ain't nobody on my roster. Okay, this nigga slid into my DMs. I know him. I know he's cool. I know he's clean. Fine, let me get my little itch scratched. And that's it.
So what if, like, he dealt with one of your friends, one of your female friends? Not a close friend, but somebody you associate with.
An associate. Not a friend.
Yeah, not a friend, but somebody you associate with, your regular, pops up in regular circles and whatnot. What if the
roles were reversed?
Yeah, he dealt with a couple of the chicks that you deal with. Again, not your friends, but like in that outer circle.
Yep.
That outer circle.
Like if I mess with some of the outskirts people from that Connecticut group. From the
Like,
people
how
that
would
you know in
how would you
Connecticut.
feel about
You want
that?
me to be completely honest?
You wouldn't care? I
would
don't care
not
about nothing.
I would not care.
I don't care about nothing.
And you're telling me that this is a situation that happened.
You say that now.
No, I'm saying it as also somebody who has been in similar situations. Because for me, as I'm sure you know, Kenan, Connecticut, I'm from Connecticut. Connecticut is not a big place. So there are multiple people who have shown interest in me, who I know have had sex with people who I see when I go out to parties. They might not be my friends, but we might have went to high school together. We follow each other on Instagram. That shit means nothing to me. Like, for me, I don't care.
So finding out about things after you get together, like before you get married, or even after you get married, how would you feel? So like if you're dealing with, say, minimum 5 years, 3 years, minimum 3 years, you're dealing with somebody. Mm-hmm. Before you get married, how do you feel like if you find out this stuff? We're going to do, it's 2 parts. So before you get married, how do you feel about this? And then if they tell you, and then we're going to talk about after you get married with them, and then you're with them for like 2 years, and then you find out about it. So
Is
right
the
now,
stuff that we're talking about stuff that genuinely you were not holding it back to be malicious? You just
weren't-
didn't
no,
present
you-
it because
you just
didn't
did,
think-
it just didn't come up. It wasn't one of those things that you were just like, oh, hey, I had relations with this person or these couple people, or I had not just in regards to sex. I was in jail for 6 years and because I did this type thing. Like,
So I feel like I think there's 2 different things. I feel like something like I was in jail is different to me than who you slept with. Because to me, you being in jail is something that I feel like is a topic that should have come up.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't though.
It's in my past.
Sometimes,
It's in my past.
Sometimes people keep that in the past.
It doesn't affect how much money it doesn't affect my lifestyle. It doesn't affect anything.
But you're telling me that we've been together for 3 years and the conversation of I've been in jail before has just never come up.
Never come up.
I took it to the Lord and that was
It's
it.
happened.
I've taken it to the Lord. He and I had a conversation and that's it. And we spoke about this.
It never came up.
We spoke about taking certain things to the Lord and just leaving it
Well,
there.
I'm asking the questions because I'm just saying, logically, I feel like it would have come up. However, to me, if I have found you in one place and Kenan is who Kenan is when we start dating, we're dating for 3 years, and let's say this thing never comes up, and then at some point in time it comes up, why is it something that should change our relationship moving forward? I took you as who you are.
It shouldn't.
So why should it change our relationship moving forward?
I mean,
It really should not.
your morals, maybe like you guys said, it may not trigger you now, but then you hear it later and it's like, you're just like, damn, okay, this is really bothering me.
Which could happen, but I feel like if
so-
it's something I feel like there are certain things that people should, maybe they don't, but I think there's certain things that people should walk into a relationship as non-negotiables. So to me, non-negotiables are things that you discuss in the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah.
If we're 3 years
agree.
in and we have not talked about non-negotiables, something's wrong.
So I mean, I think a lot of time when we do walk into relationships talking about stuff, I think we don't talk about like just everything, like with all like crime stuff happening. People do get in jail for stealing. I dated a klepto, and she didn't tell me she was a klepto until like we started actually dating. She's like, yeah, I like just going to Walmart and just putting shit in my bag and just walking out. And I'm like,
Currently.
yeah, she told me this immediately. I'm like, so you don't like paying for things? I mean, it's self-checkout, so why?
Where Kevin Samuels at?
It's like it's like why? I'm sitting there like, I mean, I was raised not to like be that type of person.
Yeah, which is
it's like,
fair.
yeah, it's like.
But that's a moral to you, and I feel like that's something that when the conversation comes up, you have the right to be like, yeah, I'm not cool with this.
Yeah, again, if that came up in the beginning, now I have a choice to be like, all right, I don't have to invest my feelings into this. Instead of you telling me this like 3 years later when we're truly invested, we're gonna buy a house together, we're gonna do this. Yeah, I can't put a house under my name because I have a felony record under my name and da-da-da. Hold on, what the fuck? You get what I'm saying? It's like one of those things like
your past is being brought into the future.
Yeah.
But
essentially.
is it, I guess I go back to the thing before though. Is that a non-negotiable for you?
Being a felon and not having, I mean,
Right. If it's a non-negotiable, then it makes sense to me that that's something in that person's past that is now brought up, even though it's in the past, and you making the decision I can't move forward with you because this is something that is a non-negotiable.
I think it's for each person. I think it's very dependent on what it is
Mm-hmm.
and how you were raised, and your morals, and all that stuff. So, like again, like if before we get married, before we get married, you tell me again, you got a train ran on. I'm sorry. You get a train ran on you. There's before we get married, that's not it. After we get married, we already here. I don't believe in divorce personally. I don't believe in divorce, and it's one of those things that
Likewise.
we gonna have to talk about it.
Gonna figure this shit
yeah,
out.
we're gonna figure this shit out because like again, for a man, that's whole pride because I know now you had a bunch of dudes in you that like. It's like, and if I knew them, it's like that's a whole different story. And then if I don't know them, all right, whatever. I think it's easier for me to like be like, all right, that's your past. It is your past. But if it's people I know, I don't know. With it, depending on the situation, I don't know.
I feel like if it's people you know, though, the situation is gonna play out the way you said it played out. Like if it's people you know and you're marrying somebody, I feel like somebody gonna tell you.
Yeah, if you're gonna marry them, yes, definitely, somebody's gonna tell you. But if you're already married and then people tell you, and like me and Kenan, we don't believe in divorce, so it's like one of those things where it's like, damn, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna fight it out?
There's only one thing
You don't believe in divorce?
Nah, I'm not with that shit. If I'm being honest,
Like it's
really not.
look.
I'm
really not.
No, look at. But the
This is
reason
new.
people are getting divorced now is because they don't understand marriage and the work that goes into marriage. Like if you understand the work that goes into marriage, any little thing, especially this is not a little thing, but any little thing you'll talk about. You'll go to counseling for. Like let's work through this. There's no reason for us to get a divorce. Whereas other people now, like they're quick to, oh, I want married. Let me get half of your shit now. I don't care. Let me just be out here.
Honestly, even in this situation, and you're shocked at me, but a lot of it is just grace and forgiveness. And it's like, you know what? I can forgive you for it. It happened.
I don't even know why you would need to forgive the person for having a train run on them before y'all were ever together.
It's not that. It's the fact that you did not tell me.
Yeah, it's the fact that you didn't tell me.
For me,
If
that's
you
what it is.
Yeah,
I
give
thought we
me
had
the
a
option.
yeah.
So
I thought we had an open. My thing is, I thought we had an open enough relationship to be transparent with each other. So transparency, I don't have to ask you a question. We just having a conversation about sex and this and that, and it should be a conversation. Yo, this what it's the same thing with you. If a dude that you dealing with slept with a man before, and now he's dealing with you, and you never asked him specifically, would you not want him to just to be transparent with you because y'all diving deeper in it, and for him to sit there and say, yo, you know, I slept with a man in my past. Would you not want that?
I don't know if I could be mad if it's a situation that we've never had that type of conversation about, though. Like, I don't know if I could be, I think that y'all are going into it as if the person is withholding information. And I don't know if I can look at it as being that you're withholding information if we've never, like, I think I would have to look at myself like, well, bitch, why is this not something that you had a conversation with before? If this is something that means something to you, why did you not have a conversation with him before about it? Why did y'all not talk about, why did you
I feel like
this
this conversation kind of does come up when you guys start talking about sex.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those, hey, what's a sexual experience a crazy sexual experience you had? And I feel like that should have just like.
Or I feel like it's natural if we're talking about this specific situation of.
You ever had a threesome?
Yeah.
You ever had an orgy?
If we're talking about the specific situation, train situation aside, now you're bringing up having sex with the same sex.
Yeah, same
If
sex.
we are having a conversation about sex, and I know that for me, my preference is that I only date heterosexual men, that's something that I'm asking. Because for me, even if it's not, it probably is a full non-negotiable, but even if it's not a full non-negotiable, I know that these are things that I'm going to ask when we're getting to know each other. I'm not about to get into a 3-year relationship, 5-year, walk down the aisle and I don't even know if you've ever been attracted to men ever before in your life. Like, I'm asking that question.
She ain't never asked me that question because she know I don't swing that way. But continue.
But also, I think that's a good point. It's also a situation of when you get to know somebody and you're speaking to somebody, you start learning about their past. You start learning about, even if you're not asking the specific question, you start learning about how they were raised. I think that there are certain things that you might not be okay with that you don't need to ask that person because
because
other
of how
things
because of how they were raised.
or
but
other
sometimes,
things lead to that man never did that shit.
yeah. So, but I mean, sometimes even if they were raised a specific way, sometimes shit still comes up.
Word. I remember I was dealing with a Haitian chick, and parents had her locked up away in the cage. So you like, oh, your morals and all that. She was getting ran down in Elizabeth. Ran down. Mad niggas had her.
But I'm not surprised by that because if you were a type of person who was raised in a very
locked down
type, when you get some freedom, baby, you out there.
You out in the streets.
You in the streets.
So do you think traumas and mental health status should be disclosed in a relationship?
So I think I go back to what Kenan said earlier, as only when it pertains to the trauma. I think that us being married and also going through our own individual therapy, doing couples therapy and stuff like that, have understood that there's certain things that are traumas that you don't know.
You don't know. Of. Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's a trauma for you. Because a lot of people, if you're raised a certain way, and you also, for example, all of my close friends, female friends, outside of my god sister, we're all raised by single women. And like, we've all been friends since kindergarten, first grade. We gravitated to each other because our mothers were single parents, so they were kind of looked at when we started going to school. Okay, this person not coming with a dad, this person not coming with a dad. They built their own relationship, and then we were brought into that relationship. We became friends, whatever the situation might be.
And hopefully y'all not projecting onto the men that you're
right, but you might not know that you're projecting it until you get in a relationship and your significant other is like, wait, babe,
and I'm gonna
this
say
is not normal.
And I'm gonna say there's a caveat to that because there might be times where your significant other might display those traumas and they might not realize it themselves. So as a partner, when you say, yo, babe, I think you might have something here, sometimes partners get defensive and say, no, I done did that. No, I done fixed that. And it's just like, well, how about you revisit that? Because the reason I say that is because some of the traumas that we dealt with in our first take of therapy, sometimes we need to go back and revisit it for housekeeping purposes because there may be things that still linger that you might not notice, but your partner notices.
Yeah.
But I think it's even before getting to that point. It might be a certain situation where that person has never gone to therapy. So how would they know that this is something that's a trauma if they've never actually had to sit down and take the time to do the emotional inventory to figure out that it's a trauma for them?
But in some cases, some people do go through therapy and they know about these things and they just like they know about these things and they're just like, you know what? I feel like I'm good.
I like where I'm at.
I like where I'm at. I'm good.
Keep pushing.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, like I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I'm in therapy already. They think just because they're in therapy, they're good. Just because you're in therapy doesn't mean you're good.
Absolutely not. And if you're going to therapy and you feel like you're good in therapy, then either you need a new therapist.
You need a whole new
or
therapist.
You're not being fully open with your therapist.
Agreed, 100%.
I think the hardest part about that particular portion is understanding that it's okay to change. Yeah. Because for me, for a long time, it was like, I ain't changing. I like the motherfucker I am. I like who I am. And I'm just like, oh man, I gotta break this. Like it was okay, Kenny, you gotta break this mold. Even though you like who you are, don't be afraid to change. And I think going back to the original question, I think it's important to disclose things that are going to affect your relationship in the present and the future. If it doesn't affect your relationship in the present and the future, I don't care about it. It happened. That's who you were. That's in the past. As long as you're not doing it with me, then we're good.
I also think it depends on what your family situation looks like. Because I feel like if you're somebody who, let's say, you don't have, like you're an only child, or you're the youngest child, or you're the oldest, sometimes in situations where you don't have to have other people, you don't get to have other people in your life who show you, okay, this is not normal. So you just think you're living in the norm. when really it's not the fucking norm. You're living in trauma, but you don't know you're living in trauma until somebody else points it out to you, which is usually in a relationship. And then you have to check yourself and figure out what the fuck I need to do to get through whatever I'm going through, because the way I'm living and what I think is okay is not okay because somebody else who's with me, who loves me, tells me that this is not normal.
Got you. For me, I think from my personal experience, I've been with, I want to say 2 women who I was like kind of semi-serious about, who are whores. Outright whores. And they
Who are whores?
And I'm happy they told me, but it
You're
didn't.
happy that they told you that they're whores.
Well, they had a past. They didn't tell me they was whores.
Whores!
I put 2 and 2 together, but they didn't tell me it didn't affect our present or our future. I just knew there were certain places I couldn't take them because we're going to run into dudes that they
But then
mess
we
with.
get into what Kevin said earlier
Literally.
about double standards, because you dealt with people who were whores. You also were a whore.
And you know what I did? When I was dealing with certain women, we can't go there because I know it's going to be certain females there and I'm not trying to embarrass you. So we don't need to be there. Okay, cool. Let's not
But
go
was
there.
the expectation that they were just supposed to accept you even though you were a whore?
Yes, because
Even if you weren't just going to outright accept them because they were whores.
No, I accepted them. And I was like, cool. Then we just don't need to go there. Because I didn't care about their past. That's in their past. That's their past. I can't hold that against you. Just don't have me looking stupid in the future or in the present. Don't have me around a group of people that you done messed with. Don't have me in people's faces that I'm, oh, okay, cool. Oh, I messed with him, him, and him. Then that makes me look stupid.
I mean,
I've said this to Kenan before, and I'm going to say it again. This is very much so rooted in a nigga thing. Very much so rooted in a nigga thing.
why are you using the N-word?
Rooted in a man thing.
Do you feel like certain sexual endeavors should be disclosed in relationships?
Absolutely. Let's talk about your...
I feel like that's the... I don't know why I feel like that's the first question that's always asked when you're dating someone, when you're dealing with them. Like, what have you done sexually?
Especially at this age. I
Yeah,
feel like
at this
that's
big
a
age?
yes.
Like, come on.
I feel like
What
it's
have
a
you done?
conversation that comes up.
That's why I feel like if somebody had a threesome or same-sex thing,
Or
they
orgies.
would say it then, no?
Or been to
and if they
Temptations
and if they
in
don't
Cancun.
say it, then it's like, I feel like if they don't say it then, they're hiding it.
Yes, because
Yeah.
and I agree with you because now this is your opportunity and your platform
To get your shit out.
Yeah. So for me, it's funny because I was dealing with a chick who I had asked her. I said, "Yo, boom, boom, boom. Okay, lay everything out on the table. Like, what best friends have you slept with? Whatever, whatever. I ain't never sleep with none of them. I ain't."
Okay.
3 months later, oh, I slept with this best friend. 6 months later, I slept with this other best friend. So now you got me meeting this dudes, and now I'm looking stupid. So why wouldn't you just honest with me
Honestly, yeah.
when I gave you the platform to? So now it fucks up our trust because now I don't trust you.
Now, how did you bring that experience into relationships in the future?
Fuck out of my face on you. I don't want to hear that shit. It was, and originally it
Which
was.
we go back to trauma. But how did you bring that into
originally it was, yo, tell me all the dudes you mess with who I'm gonna be around, because I like, and she was honest.
This shit is weird.
No,
this shit is weird though.
She was honest, and she told me, she was like, yo, it's only this one dude, he my friend, like whatever. And I'm like, I don't like the idea of that. I don't like that concept.
I mean, but the thing is, it's like, yeah, you don't have to like the idea of it. I mean, it's still her friend, and it's just like, you just take your space from it. But at the same time, it's like, for me, like, if I knew you dealt with that dude, and it's like, y'all still hang out, y'all can't hang out alone. I don't want none of that hanging out alone stuff.
Which I think is fine.
Okay.
Because if you have the conversation and you lay out what you're most comfortable with, that allows the person to make their decision about how they want to move forward in a relationship. However,
And I'm gonna
if it's
double
a
down on that.
situation where you feel like you're okay with it, or you don't want to lose that person, so you lie about or don't fully disclose what you would like those conditions to look like, then what is that? What is your partner supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because they're moving forward and making decisions based on what you told them, even though for you, it's something that means more to you, but you don't want to say it. You don't want to fully disclose stuff because you don't want to lose that person. Now this person is living in a world of, okay, I think things are one way, so I made decisions based on this, even though it's really a different way. But my person doesn't want to tell me it's a different way because they don't want to disturb what we got going on.
But I think also, even in that situation, I think it's difficult. I think for me, where I'm at now is, if that's what you want to do, you do it. I'm always going to tell you how I feel. I can't control you, and I'm not trying to. If that's what you want to do, you want to hang out with them one-on-one, by all means, go and do it. For me, I don't like it, but listen. And for me, it's a tell. Like, okay, if how much do you respect me as a person? Number one, how much do you care about me as a person to take my feelings into consideration? And just because you want to go ahead and do it doesn't mean you don't. But I feel like I'm definitely going to be like, I thought you cared about me at 100. You probably care about me at an 80, which is fine. But you're entitled to do whatever you want as a human being. All I can do is hope and tell you how I feel about the situation.
Yeah.
And then you make your decision off of that. And then I'll make my decision off of that. Like what?
But why does it have to be that the person doesn't care about you?
I mean, because they didn't disclose.
No, I'm saying we're talking about if like the information was disclosed, right? And then now you say this is how I feel. Why does a person taking into consideration how you feel and also taking into consideration how they feel? Why does it mean that if they function in a different way of what you want them to function, why does that have to mean that they don't care about you?
So it's not that they don't care about me. I just thought they held me in a higher regard than what they do. And that's because of my own personal beliefs on that, because I would never do that to a person.
But they can also think that you should hold them in higher regard. Because what the conversation is now is that if you lay out how you feel about a situation, once the person is honest with you about it, this is how I feel. Okay, cool. You should do this because you hold me in a high regard. Now, if the person is saying, but this is how I feel about it, and might also say the same thing to you. This is how I feel about it, and if you hold me in a high regard, you would be okay with how I feel about it. Then where does the couple land?
Then I guess that's where I have no idea where it lands.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a confusing spot because of just how both parties see the perspective. For me personally, again, I hope that someone would tell me in the beginning. Just tell me all your shit in the beginning. Tell me all your shit in the beginning so I have an option. And
Absolutely.
I feel like as long as you give people the option in the beginning, that they could figure out what they want to do long term and how they want to navigate it in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, you slept with this guy or this girl, and I'm meeting them tonight. Cool. Let me see what it's about. Let me talk to them. All right, cool. Just an FYI, I don't want you doing any one-on-ones with them because, again, sometimes people may still have feelings and may still think they can get at you because they had you in the past. A lot of people think that way. Where, oh shit, you ain't doing shit. You ain't got a man right now. All right, let's go kick it real quick. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I trust my person enough to have respect for me to be like, all right, we ain't gonna do that. They're already gonna preemptively think, all right, I'm not hanging out with this person because my person already told me they feel weird me hanging out with this person one-on-one. We ain't gonna do that. And we're just gonna, take a step back.
But so I feel like I understand that. However, I feel like in that type of situation, the trust only goes so far for what you have for your partner. Mm-hmm. Because if the idea is that the person, let's say they decide they want to hang out with the person one-on-one, and your idea is that the man in the situation, for the situation we're talking about, is going to feel like I had her before so I can have her again. Mm-hmm. You trust your partner enough to not put herself in a situation where she would have a one-on-one situation with this person. However, it sounds like the trust does not go far enough where if she did have a one-on-one situation with this person and the person thinks that they're coming into it where I had her before I can have her again, you don't trust your partner enough to stop that. Your partner can have a conversation with somebody they slept with and make it very clear to that person, I'm in a relationship, I have no interest with you. We are literally just kicking it as friends. Like, we're literally just doing dinner. We're literally just talking, whatever. We're literally just texting, whatever the situation is. as friends because I respect my
Hold
partner
up.
and I respect my relationship, and I'm never gonna cross that line.
I think this is the problem. And I'm going to compare it to a man going into a strip club. A man going into a strip club, nah, I'm just here. I'm just here. I have no desire. I just want to sit here. I just want to eat my food. I just want to just chill. He goes in there constantly. At some point, after 20 or 30, something's going to happen. Because why even put yourself in that environment? And I think I told you this before. Biblically speaking, from what I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I know, when we become closer to Christ, there's certain places we don't need to be. There's certain environments we don't need to be in, because, and we talked about temptation. You told me with temptation, you can't be tempted by certain things you don't want. But on the opposite end, sometimes you don't even know what you want until you're in a
that space.
situation,
Yeah.
or a certain sin like alcohol or marijuana or other things are contributing to that factor of your environment. So that can enhance some of the things that you didn't even know you could be tempted by, because there's other sins, alcohol, drug, whatever the case may be, to enhance what you thought couldn't tempt you.
But that I don't think that changes the fact, because what you're saying to me is two different things. You go to a strip club, you're literally in a strip club. The women are literally naked. What we're talking about right now is having a one-on-one conversation with somebody that you slept with before.
I mean, so
And
That's different than somebody's titties being out.
It's
and
not,
you go,
because
How
now
is it not
because
different?
you're talking about the physical. Now, when you're talking to somebody one on one, there's an intellectual conversation that's happening. Your intellect, your mind.
I mean, yeah,
it's
so-
still that happening. So just because I get to see a person's body and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
But that's what you're tempted by.
That could be arousing to. Okay, I hear
That's
what
what
you're
you're
saying.
tempted by.
You're talking about temptations right now. So like, I mean, the temptation of like, hey, let's have dinner. Let's have dinner. Let's sit at the bar so it doesn't seem like it's a date. Let's sit here at the bar and we'll start having conversation. And just having the conversation is tempting to me, because this person is bringing out another side of me and I'm liking it, versus my own person not bringing out the same side. But this person right here, I know she's going to bring out the same side of me because we've done it before, whatever. But we're keeping it friends. We're keeping it, on God terms. But everything we're talking about is just like, damn, this shit is arousing me more than my person. And it's like, I like it. I want it. And my person's not giving me this. And it's like, damn, do I stop myself from like continuing this conversation and go back to my person, or take a step back? It's all about control at the end of the day. And a lot of humans don't have control, even if they're in relationships. And I've seen it a lot. I have friends that have gone through the same situation where they had friends, quote unquote friends, that they had situations with, they separated, they both got their own person, but they still link up on the side as quote unquote friends. But then it's just like, damn, why didn't we get together? Because we had such fire, but I have fire with my person. And it's like a whole other conundrum of stuff. But again, it's up to the person to have self-control at the end of the day. End of the day, it's all about self-control and having control over yourself, not wanting that other person. But again, it's like, she didn't, as long as you tell your person what the fuck happened in your past, I think it's fine personally. If you tell the person hey, I dealt with this person in my past, we fucked around, whatever. But it's the next step afterwards. What's going to happen afterwards that determines if you guys stay together, in my opinion. But when it comes to concealing your past, let's get back to this. Concealing your past. Do you feel like people should be saying this in the beginning versus saying it after, like, they're in a relationship or marriage? Because I think either way, it's going to hurt the relationship, man or woman. It's going to hurt the relationship either way. It's all about your personal moralities and being like, all right, I'm going to put my foot down. This is not it.
If it don't affect us, and it's not going to affect us, and it's not going to affect us in the future, I brought it to God. I left it with God. That's what it's going to be. And there's nothing more to talk about.
So, if it's, I think there's a difference.
Okay.
If you are intentionally not telling me stuff because you're trying to present yourself as one person,
Yeah.
that's fucked up to me. If you're intentionally leaving stuff out,
but you know what? In the beginning stages of dating, that's what people do. I want to show you all my good shit. I want to show you all my good shit. I'm a great person. This, that, and the third.
the relationship is never gonna last.
Yes, I 100% agree. And if like I think people wait for the attachment piece before saying anything that's like, hey, so I wanna let you know I ain't got a job right now. I said I had a job when we first started. I did, but then I got fired. I ain't got a job right now. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's manipulative to me. That's catfishing. Because at the end of the day, if it's something, there's two folds to it. If it's something that is not something that you felt like you needed to disclose, or if it's something that you didn't think needed to be said in the beginning because it's just like not something that you felt was important to say, that's one thing. If the conversation came up and you are intentionally hiding stuff about yourself,
Agreed.
to present yourself as somebody who you are not,
Agreed.
simply because you were trying to get a person to a certain point with you that they are emotionally attached to you, so that you can then show them who you truly are, that's fucked up.
Agreed.
And it's not gonna last. It's not gonna last because the person that person fell in love with is not who you actually are.
I mean, yes, I 100% agree with that. But like in some case, we see it. I think it's I think it's a 50-50 where people get that real person afterwards and they're just like, fuck. Well, I guess this is all I can get. I'll just keep it moving. And we all have friends like that. We all have friends that have just accepted the lies and been just like,
I was that person. You was going. We was at Violet's house. You was going upstairs. I told you what the girl did.
yeah.
You was like, leave her, leave her.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna go against
I
my
forgot.
better judgment. You said, leave that bitch. I was like, yo, I don't
I
know.
completely
You was
forgot,
like,
damn.
leave that bitch. And I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna ride it out. You was like, this nigga is retarded, and walked upstairs. And I was like,
Did it last?
no.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. It's not. It cannot last. It's not
and
going
that's
to
the
last.
thing. It's like you're certain. The one thing is, certain friends will recognize those like red flags that you don't recognize, and that's why like I'm big on like when I'm dealing with somebody, I don't tell my friends immediately. I don't tell people I'm dealing with immediately because I just want my own opinion in the relationship, and then after a while, I'll be like, yo, guys, this is what I'm dealing with, blah, 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 this is what's going on, and I want you to meet them. And supposedly it's a big thing when I present a person to my friends because I don't do it often. And it's like, okay, no, this person is great. But again, it's like, in the relationship, I still keep certain things to myself because, again, it shouldn't be shared with people outside the relationship. I think you should keep it to yourself 100%. And then it gets to a point where it's like, certain things don't add up. Kenan, those times I've called you while I was working
The math ain't mathing.
at night, and I was like, let me know if this makes sense to you, because I just want to know. And you've checked me a couple times on it, and I'm like,
This don't make sense.
nah, I mean, it's like I talked to you and like two other married couples, and I'm like, yo, like, hey, I know you know me, so let me know, da 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 da. All three of y'all was like, yo, Kev,
Hell no.
Like, nah,
I remember
Which
that.
I feel like that
I was
type of stuff
deployed.
is different, though. That type of stuff is different than you opening the door to other people coming into your relationship. And we have talked about this before. The hitting up friends who know you at your core or family and being like, am I tripping? Like, I know what I see and I don't know if what I see is correct. Tell me if I'm tripping. It's different than just opening the door to people being able to come in and wreck your relationship with their opinions on your significant other and the problems that y'all are going through.
And I think it kind of ties in because it's like, how do I say it? It's like one of those things where it's like, you're dealing with somebody for so long, for enough time, and you're just like, you're finding out new things, and they're telling you about yourself, and you're asking somebody else like, Kenan, hey, am I this type of person? I just want to understand. I just want to make sure I'm not the fucked up person here. I want to make sure I wasn't concealing this because I feel like I am this honest person. I feel like I'm straightforward, and I want to tell you to tell me if I fucked up. If in any way, do you see like I'm this type of person? I don't feel like that is, in a sense, because again, it's like you conceal certain things about yourself in the initial relationship. Some people, I think we all do it. We conceal a little bit to a point.
Yeah.
And then because we want people to see the best of us. And then after we get comfortable after that 90 days, we're just like, now I'm gonna be a slouch. Now I'm gonna do this. Now I'm actually gonna show you the real me.
That's true.
And then it all comes out.
But that's two different types of concealing. Concealing somebody in a way where you are trying to put your best foot forward when getting to know somebody, to me, is different than concealing yourself in a way where you are purposely not telling the truth about stuff that pertains to you.
Okay.
Like if we're having a conversation about the example we said before, who out of your friend group or who out of the people I'm about to be around you slept with, and you purposely don't tell me, you're concealing.
Yeah.
Now, if we never had that conversation and you didn't feel like it was relevant to tell me, that could be looked at as concealing as well. But those are two different types of concealing to me.
Do you feel like okay, again, back to the train thing. I'm gonna bring that up. So when I said, hey, what type of you've had sex, like what are your different experiences, and you don't bring that up, that's concealing. You feel like that's concealing your train situation.
Yeah, you basically omitting the truth. You hiding shit now. You're purposely hiding shit. When I've asked you your
the assumption is that it's purposely.
Yo, I'm asking you your sexual experience. Like, yo, okay, have you done this? Have you done that? Whatever the case may be, and you like, no, I ain't never done none of that.
No, that's not what Kevin said though.
No.
Kevin said he opened. The question is, tell me about your sexual experiences. Not have you done this? Have you done that?
Okay. Right? And if the person doesn't disclose, for a person like me, you're not being transparent. I'm giving you the platform to be transparent and also honest. And you're choosing not to do that.
See, I don't know if I can say your purpose.
It's a tricky situation.
Yeah,
right?
I
But
don't
that's
know
why
if
that's
tricky
why,
now.
That's why I ask specific questions.
Yeah,
Yo.
I don't know if you can say that the person is purpose, because let's say the person you're talking about had a train run on her in college. Let's say it's a situation it happened with alcohol involved. It's something that afterwards she was very embarrassed about. Something that she decided, like, kind of what Kenan was saying before. Black it out. That's between me and God. I don't want to bring it up because of the trauma that comes with it. Her not bringing that to the forefront, I don't know if it can be said that she's intentionally doing it. Now, if you ask her, have you ever had a train run on you? And sis says no. Okay, so that's different.
Now it's specific questions.
I think it depends on the person. Questions. Like, and I think sometimes you're not going to know the answer until, let's say y'all had that conversation, and later on
you get in that specific situation and asking that question.
Right, and then the question is, well, why did you bring this up before when I asked you about your sexual situations? And she's like, oh, I didn't want you to think differently of me. Then that's like, okay, so you purposely didn't tell me about it because you wanted me to have this picture of who you were, and you didn't want that to be included in the picture. Or if it's like well, that was a very traumatic situation for me, I blacked it out.
Then that ties into that second question I asked, like, do you feel like traumas and mental health status should be disclosed in the relationship? If any type of traumas you've had, hey, I've dealt with a chick that was I dealt with a chick that was raped before, and she told me, hey, I had like a situation where I was drunk and this would happen, and she told me, like, and I was like, damn, okay, that's crazy. Like, I mean, most women and men that have been in that experience won't share that experience. So does that tie into, hey, have you had it? I'm asking you the question, have you had any traumas or mental health experiences go on in your life that, you would like to disclose? Okay, lawyer, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, think about it, lawyer.
I'm only thinking about it because
you're thinking about wording.
No, I'm not thinking about wording.
Okay.
I'm only thinking about it because I think that certain situations are different. Somebody being sexually assaulted might not be something that they feel like they need to bring to the forefront. One, because a lot of times, speaking personally and also from the area that I deal with,
Okay.
a lot of times when certain stuff like that happens to people, they carry a lot of shame with it. So the person's not automatically going to just put that at the forefront.
But if you don't, then how can your partner, when triggers are going, they're inevitably going to happen as it pertains to sexual assault. How can your partner be there to support you and be there to help you if you don't disclose that?
Yeah, is it still considered kind of concealing your past? If you're not saying,
Because somebody may not want to deal with somebody who's been in that
in
realm.
that space,
They might be like, nah, hell no, because it's too much baggage for me to carry.
I think a portion of it might depend on when the actual conversation happens. If I'm on a first date with somebody and they ask me about not first date, second date, third
Like
date, whatever,
traumas, yeah.
and they ask me about sexual traumas, there's certain things that
you might not say it right there.
because not because I want to portray that I'm somebody else, but because I don't fucking know you like that.
Yeah.
To be able to express that to you. But I do think that for people who have mental health things or certain traumas that happen, if you're serious about somebody, it would be wise to tell them those things because those things are not stuff that you can just go to sleep and pretend like it didn't happen. It's going to rear its head at some point in time.
Okay. So as we come to the end of this episode, like when it comes to concealing your past, what do you guys want to leave people with? Anya.
I think that it's always best to go into a situation being as honest as you can about who you are and the things that you've been through when you feel like you're at a certain situation with a person where you feel comfortable enough. Because I think that in general it's going to come up. And if you're serious about having a relationship with this person that's long term and you're trying to build with this person, you have to tell them.
Okay. Kenan.
I think you don't. I'm cool off the word honest. You need to be transparent. Transparency is before I even ask you, you should be forthcoming and
already
be
saying it.
willing to be like, yo, you know what? I like you a lot, so I'm just gonna tell you all of my fucking baggage, all of my secrets, make myself as comfortable as I possibly can, and you decide if you want to deal with me after this.
Yeah, I feel like that's
You
I feel
decide.
like that's a second date or a third date thing where it's like, hey, this is me, this is all of me. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And I kind of go from there.
Second or third date?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Y'all
be super upfront because again, it's time. We all don't have enough time in this world. So you giving people the time to like figure out like, okay, yes, I want to deal with you or no, I don't want to deal with you is very crucial.
Just be transparent.
Yeah, just you have to. But that is it for this episode. You guys can find me on all social media platforms at Random Guy Kevin and my website at randomguykev.com. Don't forget to check in, and I will catch you guys on the next one.